What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning in for today's video, which is going to be a review of the new Natasha Denona Glam Palette. I ordered mine from Sephora in a larger Rare Beauty order that I'm also wearing on my face today, but today is going to be all about the Glam Palette, which if you are a cool eyeshadow lover, this is going to be the video for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about it, swatch it, share the things that I love, and also share the things that I don't love and think are important for you to know too, because it might be a make or break sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get started. So just like she's been doing with the past few palettes, Natasha Denona put the Glam Palette in the smaller, thinner plastic packaging. Has a magnetic closure, a nice sized mirror in here, and is relatively lightweight. Like I find myself applying my makeup and eyeshadows using this palette because the mirror is so big and it actually stays upright, which is a major perk. And then of course inside you get your eyeshadows in here, and in the back you see these holes are meant for you to be able to pop these pans out and rearrange them or put them in a freeform palette as you like, however you prefer to store your shadows. And this is the same palette, by the way, as the bronze palette came in, and then I think she has another pink-y purple themed palette that has the same kind of packaging. But the ability to pop your pans out in this palette comes in handy, especially with the Glam Palette, because rather than putting shade names in here, I believe this is the first palette that Natasha Denona has instead put placements. So rather than having shade names, it says center eyelid, outer eyelid, inner corner. The idea is that you can remove these pans and rearrange them to customize them according to your skin tone, your preference for where you put what shades where. And so it's actually designed for you to customize it for yourself. I have mine arranged here actually lightest to deepest because I want to talk about that later in the video, but I'll show you the arrangement that it comes in just so you can see the default arrangement and the swatches in that order. This palette comes with 5 matte shades, and then the remaining finishes are, as they are listed on the back of the box, metallic / duochrome / chroma crystal eyeshadow. So a variety of other non-matte finishes, but I will say a lot of them are very, very similar, all very high shine, finely milled. So those that aren't matte, you're going to get a lot of reflectivity and dimension to those shades. And all of the shadows have a really nice quality. The mattes are especially buttery, very consistent with like the bronze palette quality, which I found is even better than her original eyeshadow formula. I really like whatever she is putting in these palette arrangements. The thing that's kind of interesting to me is because she chose not to name these shadows, none of the pans on the back have the shadow names on them. So once you rearrange these and you lose track of like the numbers that are indicated on the back of this box, I have no way of knowing what these shade names are called if I ever want to replace them, if I can buy them individually. So that's kind of a downside of not having shade names and rearranging them instead according to placement, but honestly, not a huge deal breaker for me anyway. Overall, I really love this palette. I think it has a really great mixture of soft champagne and taupes, a couple of pinky taupes, a golden metallic that still leans pretty cool and complementary to everything else you have going on, and then of course, deeper, smokier sort of taupes. If you love cool tone shadows, taupe eyeshadows, this is going to be an absolute comfort zone for you. The only thing that I don't love about this palette is actually something that if I had known or realized in looking at swatches and things like that prior to purchasing, I probably would not have purchased this. And that is the shade range. Yes, you get everything from ultralight, matte, and shimmer to a deep, both matte and shimmer. Like you do get a range in here, but I do feel like there are a couple of shades that come very, very close. And so what I have found is that often, no matter how I combine a lot of these shades, I'm getting a look that looks very, very similar. And it's kind of the same problem that I had with my Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. Incredibly gorgeous palette, makes a beautiful look. I just found that there weren't all that many looks I could create because there wasn't enough contrast. A lot of the shades did similar things, functioned similarly, and really, I feel like you could get everything this palette does for you, but instead of 15 shadows, maybe doing it in like 6. You know what I mean? You just don't need all of these shades when so many of them, like these shades right here, some of these lighter ones up here, and you'll be able to see in the swatches, especially, that's why I have them arranged this way, so you can really see just when you put some of the shades side by side how close they look to each other. The main difference for many of them being the finish. One you get a chunky shimmer, one you get a more finely milled shimmer, or it's a metallic shade, but really in terms of application and how they look on the eye, I think they are very, very similar. And so because because of that, I feel like you're getting a lot of duplication when there could have been an opportunity to include more contrasting shades, maybe some different finishes. Natasha Denona has some incredible duo and multi-chrome finishes in some of her other palettes, and it would have been interesting to see what she did with that in here. That said, I do think that if these shadows are like your everyday sort of palette, if this is where you live, it's your comfort zone, and so you can see using each and every one of these shades, you don't mind having multiples because you know once you blow through one, you're going to have that other one as a backup, this is going to be an amazing palette for you. But as far as what I look for in an eyeshadow palette, I love to have a lot of variety is not the right word. Contrast really is the right word. I don't want anything coming too close because I feel like it limits me in the looks that I can create using just one palette. And when it comes to a 15 pan palette, I feel like there's the opportunity to get something that really does it all without having to reach into something else for a supplementary color or a finish or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not a bad palette by any means. It just comes down, I think, to preference and how you like to use your palettes. The other thing I definitely want to mention here, because it's certainly the first thing I thought of when I saw the Natasha Denona Glam Palette on social media, was how strikingly similar it is to the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette, what I feel like is the original cool-toned glam palette out there. And there are a lot of similarities. Just like the Glam palette, you know, Naked 2 has a combination of those cool silver taupes, cool browns, but also some of those golds down here. Now, none of these shades are identical to what come in Natasha Denona's Glam palette, but if you are looking for something that gives you a similar vibe, similar look and feel, and something that you might already have in your collection, because I feel like this was back in the Naked collection's heyday, when if you were a Naked fan, you would buy just about anything Urban Decay launched. I feel like a lot of us might have this, and so if you do, you can probably skip the Glam palette unless, you know, this is something that you know you're going to use every day, you just love cool tone palettes and you can't get enough. Then the Glam might be for you, but just know there are a lot of striking similarities between these two, so if you're just looking for something like a cool toned fall palette, you might already have that in your collection with the Naked 2 palette. So those are my thoughts. I'd be interested to hear from you guys. What do you prefer in your palettes? Are you like me, where you like as much variety that still, you know, obviously goes together as a color palette as possible, or do you not mind something that's a little bit more monochrome if it means you get more of the shades that you love? Let me know down in the comments below, as well as whether you're into the Glam palette. Do you have it? Do you want it? Are you on the fence? Let us know all of that down in the comments below. And besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.